My name is Kelsey, but you can call me Kels, and you are listening to the Queer in Alberta podcast.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life.
I am so excited to be back making content, and as you can see, I kind of changed things up. Now you can see my little boob plant. Do you see it? I was not allowed to put that on Optic TV for PG reasons, but you can have it here. My friends, it has been so long since I last talked with you. I can't even believe it. I think the last episode that came out was the finale of season 1, which was with Juliani Taveras, who is from New York City, a playwright. It's a fantastic episode, one of my favorites. If you haven't listened to it yet, definitely go and do that. But yeah, it's been a few months since the last time we kikied, and you know what? I'm happy to share that I have been booked and busy in that time frame. Since the last time I chatted with you, I was filming 7 new episodes that are going to come onto the podcast, that are going to go onto national television with TELUS Optic TV. And oh my God, you guys, I think this season is totally stacked. I'm so excited. We did something really fun this season where I was able to have about a 50-50 split of in-person interviews versus online. Basically, every interview I've ever done for the series has been online. And let me tell you, that shift, that change blew my mind, totally blew my mind. So yeah, we have a lot of small town representation, city representation, we have drag performers, activists, and of course, you know me, I'm really happy to say that we have so many people from our community, but also from diverse backgrounds, whether it's racial or ethnic identity, all these sorts of things. We got a studio, we had a videographer, a video editor. We have such a wonderful team of people that have come together to help transform this in totally new ways. For today's episode, this is actually sponsored by LUNCHBOX Theatre and CHROMATIC Theatre in Calgary, because we are going to be talking with Bianca Miranda, who is a Filipinx Canadian playwright based in Calgary. And they have a brand new, fantastic original play debuting with LUNCHBOX and CHROMATIC at the end of the month. It's called Kisapmata. Kisapmata in Tagalog translates to in the blink of an eye. It is a Filipinx queer love story featuring 2 women. One is from the Philippines. The other is also Filipino, but she was born and raised here in Canada, so living in the diaspora and reconnecting with her culture. If you're a longtime listener of the podcast, you know that I am half Filipino and that my Pinoy heritage is incredibly important to me. I've been on this whole journey of reconnecting, and it's been so amazing to see how this podcast and TikTok and social media these last few years has led me to so many other queer Pinoy creatives that are local and close to me. So I've been able to really make some fantastic connections with people that are doing similar things and have those same passions. So you can basically guess what my reaction was when I found out that this play was happening in Calgary. I knew I had to be a part of it in some way. I think this might be one of the most outrageous episodes I've ever had on the show. We get loud, we get into it, all things from the behind the scenes of the play to also some of those funny key moments of being Pinoy. For the queer Filipinos out there that are listening, this is truly an episode for us. I am so excited for you to hear from Bianca. Not only is Bianca brilliant, but from the first 5 minutes of sitting down with her over Zoom, I could tell that she has so much warmth and personhood, that her character is just so genuine. I felt like I was sitting down with an old friend. So here's to new relationships, and here is to Kisapmata, truly a triumph of Pinoy queer representation in Calgary. This is me chatting with Bianca Miranda, the playwright behind Kisapmata, which is debuting with LUNCHBOX Theatre and CHROMATIC Theatre in Calgary at the end of the month. You're definitely not going to want to miss out on the show. Go get tickets. Welcome back to the Queer in Alberta podcast, the podcast where I talk to 2S LGBTQIA+ Albertans to share their stories. My name is Kelsey, but you can call me Kels. I am a queer Filipino-Canadian, and I use she/her pronouns. And I filmed this series right here on Treaty 7 territory in the city of Lethbridge, Alberta. Now, besties, I think I say that I'm excited for every single episode because it's true, but this one, it's a little bit extra. We are joined by Filipinx Canadian playwright Bianca Miranda, all the way from Calgary, joining us online over Zoom. Can we please get an introduction? I'm so glad to have you in this space.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Bianca Miranda. My pronouns are she, they, and I am based in Mohkinstsis, Calgary. And I was born and raised in the Philippines. And I am a theater maker of all sorts. So I work as a performer, a playwright, an arts administrator, but I'm also the associate producer at Downstage.
That's so cool. And I am not from Calgary. So Downstage is a new name for me. I know that the play we're talking about today is with Lunchbox Theater and Chromatic, but who is Downstage?
Oh, Downstage is a small and mighty company, and our
Hey.
focus is theater that creates conversations. Yeah.
And that's a theme because, like, even again, like thinking of Chromatic Theater and meeting Cody, massive shout out to Cody. The first thing he told me was like, Chromatic is all about uplifting diverse voices and voices that maybe haven't had that same space on the stage. So it's kind of a theme with your work that we're definitely going to talk about today.
Yeah, I definitely gravitate towards theater that has something to say. So
I mean, is that not the best theater? Question mark.
exactly. I
Maybe
mean,
we're
no shade to other
biased.
theater. Yeah,
Let's be
like we love
shady.
entertainment. Right?
It's true. Well, love, I am so glad to have you here. And I was even just like thinking about this conversation today. You and I first connected on TikTok like 2 years ago, bestie, and then finally met in person like a month or two ago.
Yeah, yeah, like very briefly. And it was so interesting because it was one of those like you've posted a video and you had quite a bit of following and I was kind of just like commenting just on a whim. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm queer too in Alberta.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. And then I remember, like, because of course I was going through, like, I think the whole thing that maybe connected us was a bit of that queer scarcity and then Filipinx scarcity as well of queer experiences in this specific place. So I was like, going through my comments, seeing who was there. And when I saw you, I was like, duh, instantly I want to like follow this person, get to know you a little bit more. And I think you even offered to like help me a bit with my Tagalog or something. Like, you've been so sweet from day one.
Yeah, I definitely did not expect you to respond. I feel
Yeah.
like we're so used to parasocial relationships on the internet that I
And I
kind of was
went,
just like,
surprise, bitch.
exactly. I
It
was like,
was
oh,
like,
this person wants to like connect. This is interesting.
isn't that
Yeah.
funny? This person is desperate for connection during the pandemic. This is what you asked for.
Yeah, but I'm so thankful that happened
Me
and we're
too.
here. Oh my
Me
goodness.
too. And like, how wild is it that that is how we get to be together today? Like connecting through weird parasocial relationships, like all that kind of stuff, meeting in Calgary, and then learning that you yourself are this fantastic playwright. Today, we're going to talk about Kisapmata, and I just want to make sure I am pronouncing that right, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Ah, thank you. Nanai, that one was for you.
She's so proud.
Thank you. Actually, she's always like, meh, it could be better, but
Aren't they all like that?
I know. Even my ninang, she like really, really grilled me on the difference between like po and po. She's like, you have to say po, otherwise chinelas are out.
I have to say, yep, yeah, I feel that.
It's true.
Am I the
It's,
Ninang?
I mean, in this situation, maybe a little bit.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah, but we are here to talk about kisapmata, which translates to in the blink of an eye, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes, and this, I want to give you the opportunity to tell my audience about this play. I just know it sounds like such a passion project for you. And immediately when I first heard about it, like it brought up those same feelings for me. Like, this is our community on the stage, queer, Filipino. I'm so excited for my audience to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say every project of mine is a passion project.
Yes.
When I write, it always comes from a very, very personal place.
Mm.
And this play is no different. So this play is about two Filipino women, one who was born and raised in Canada, and the other who was born and raised in the Philippines, and who is here in Canada for a limited amount of time for an internship. Um,
Oh.
Yeah, so the two of them meet at work. They become fast friends, and this play takes the audience through their relationship, like the joys and intricacies of a relationship and the realities of what that is when someone is here on borrowed time. And
Oh,
yeah, their dreams and fantasies, and honestly, eventually, spoiler alert, but not the letting go and the goodbyes.
oh my god, drama.
Drama.
Bestie, I haven't seen it yet. Ah, I'm so
I know. I'm
excited.
sorry.
Okay, so prepare myself for a heartache. It's fine.
Yeah, bring a couple Kleenexes, I think.
Oh my god, this is so random, but do you remember that what was that John Green book that was so popular when I was a teenager? The Fault in
The
Our
Fault in Our
Stars.
Stars. Yes. Yeah.
Bestie, the way I showed up to that movie theater with a box of Kleenexes, like, it wasn't even for me. I ended up giving it to this row of like preteens just sobbing hysterically.
Oh.
I literally was like, mid movie, I think you need these more than me. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared for all circumstances.
Yes, yeah, definitely. If you're prone to crying, I mean, who knows? I'm not going to dictate what an audience should feel like, but maybe you'll end up in a situation where you offer it to the whole row.
I mean, that's culture. That's
Yeah.
giving. Hmm. And I think like
um,
let's not lie. You have a mission. You want to make people feel things with this play. Come on.
I mean, part of the inspiration of the play is because I grew up watching teleseries.
Oh,
Like
work.
my mom, my Lola, and I would sit down in front of the TV every night after dinner or during dinner, which whatever, um,
Mm-hmm.
and we would yell and scream and cry and laugh at the TV as if we were there with them.
Yes.
And there was just something so amazing about that feeling of like, these are simple stories. Sometimes they're predictable, but
Mm-hmm.
we're so invested in these characters. And most of all, like, I really loved how my mom and my Lola felt so included. Like there was no guessing for them. And
Mm.
oftentimes when my mom would see shows that I was in, or something like that, she would be like, is there like a Wikipedia page that I could like look at first?
Oh yeah.
Like, I think it was really important for me to, I don't know, like, showcase a very simple story, but at the same time show my whole heart, really. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so beautiful. And like, we have different experiences. Like, you grew up in the Philippines, you said. And for me, I am biracial and I was born here. But hearing you talk about media and teleseries and stuff like that, I think about when my mom finally got TFC, like in the household. Because we were rural, like my aunt, my tita in Edmonton, she had it 'cause she was in the big city. But it wasn't until I was like a teenager that my mother got it. And like watching how suddenly she's always in front of the TV with TFC. She doesn't care about anything else. Like, this is a real thing for our people.
Yeah.
A
We
little
love
piece of
TFC.
home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And even
Yeah.
me, like, if I don't fully understand everything, it used to kind of like, to be totally honest, like, be a point of frustration when I was a kid. And some of that was like having a white dad and maybe not seeing or having a shared united front on the value of my mother's culture, my mother's language. So I used to be frustrated when I couldn't understand, and it made me not want to listen or participate. And that's something I
Mm.
really regret. And now as an adult, like, even if I'm at home for a few days, I don't care if I miss like 70% of the conversation. You can watch and get the context and just share that special time with your nanay.
Yeah, totally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that encompasses a lot of what one of the characters feels like. One of the
Ooh.
characters, I feel like there's just this yearning for to find out more about her culture, to learn the language, but also that it's just not that simple sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I find like B's character, the one who was born and raised in the Philippines, she kind of there's this interesting scene where she's like, "Oh, if you want to learn Tagalog, why don't you?" And it's like, ha ha, ha ha. It's like saying, like,
Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind blowing.
But truly, it's like, there's so many factors that have led you to this, like, or that has led A to this moment of like, I can't. There's just this like weird, like there's shame that has been built. She was told at school that it's better off that she doesn't speak the language at home, or like that her nanay doesn't speak the language at home because they don't want her picking up an accent or just,
Being
like not
confused.
being confused and not fitting in with her peers. But really, it's interesting because I did a bit of education training, and in like the classes we were taught, tell the kids that their superpower is that they have multiple languages in them. Tell them that that they can learn two languages, and that is their superpower. But then when you get to the schools, everyone is like, we don't have time. We don't have time for that.
Reality. Yeah.
Speed it up. Yeah, exactly. So
That's so relatable. And again, like, I think I need to just chill because I'm so freaking excited to see it. Because, yeah, that character that you're describing, I think whether someone in the audience is mixed like myself or maybe just second gen and reconnecting, that is such a quintessential experience that the more like Pinoy people that I just connect with, whether they're queer or not, who grew up here or were separated from the homeland, we all have pieces of that. And I think this is such a beautiful way to have a conversation about those things.
Even myself, who was like born and raised in the Philippines, but I have been here for 16 years, and I moved when I was 14 and really was only able to visit once. There's a part of me that will always be like it's like, I hope I'm still Filipino enough, like this. It feels like when I first came here, there was so much like desire to erase all of that. I really wanted to, well, simply put, to assimilate. But, right now I'm like, no, I'm fighting so hard to still be relatable to my friends in the Philippines, or like, or I would get so scared if they were like, oh, you're so Canadian now. Like, I don't know. There's just like pangs of I know they mean well by it. It's just a joke, but it's truly like
it's a joke,
I
but
sit
it's
on
not.
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I can't fully relate to the same experience, but I hear that and I'm like, oh, I get a little bit of what that feels like. It's even, especially for being mixed, like to just mention that once more, it's like you are consistently feeling like you are not enough of either identity. And like I've talked about it a lot on my like TikTok and etc., but just like trying to find that foundation, whether you are mixed or in the diaspora, of it doesn't matter. Like the blood quantum, who you are is who you are. And you need to be able to stand on that with 2 feet rather than needing the validation of other people. And it's hard.
It is. It's incredibly difficult. Yeah. And yeah, I've seen your TikToks of folks leaving comments on your stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, it's so hard. Yeah.
Are you talking like the really negative kind of gatekeepy
Yep.
comments?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. First of all, if you are listening and you've ever left me one of those comments, the door is there and I don't want to see you. My goodness. You're not invited to Kisapmata. Just kidding. Maybe you'll have a change of heart. This is the time, the education.
Yeah.
That's too ridiculous. But yeah, I think it just highlights like what we're saying. There's like everybody is going to have an outside opinion, but at the end of the day, I have to live my life for myself. And I think how I view it is like, even though I'm reconnecting and have to make up for what I feel like is lost time, there's that responsibility to understanding my heritage and my culture and to seek community. And so even something like this, I think really creates that opportunity for reconnecting folks or people that just miss home in Calgary.
Yeah. I think what's so special about, I guess, the process of writing it was, I guess as a playwright who I don't have a lot of examples of other Filipinx works. I mean, sorry, I not to say that they don't exist. Like there's a lot
Yes.
of really amazing Filipinx writers and playwrights. Mary Beth Badian is one, of Prairie Nurse and other like works, but also like yeah. Anyway, all that to say that I really was like I want to make the most unapologetic like Filipino queer love story. And
Speak
that
on it.
started with yeah, that started with not being not being, I guess, like shy to include as much Tagalog in the dialogue. And like I really was
Mm-hmm.
like like this is the language that the other character feels the most comfortable in, so that has to show up. And but also like we see this journey of this character really present themselves in like a like they're working twice as hard to translate in a language in their first language to English. And I
Yes.
think that shows up in the dialogue. I'm hoping it does. And then as we see their relationship kind of progress and evolve, there's like the walls come down and more Tagalog seeps in, because even when I first came here, I saw Tagalog as like a tell, like a tell that I don't
Mm.
quite belong here. And so I was so afraid that it would leak in the words I chose, in the jokes, in my humor, and I tried so hard to erase all of that. And this play is like, I don't know, it was just like a chance to kind of like reclaim all of that. And
Yes.
yeah, and not shy away anymore from talking about the food, obviously, like the music. It's all there in the play. So
Oh, I love to hear it. And again, like you speaking about your experiences, what I have come to mind is such a small example of feeling something similar. But I remember even being in like the 7th grade, and I lived in like a very, in some ways, traditional Filipino household. My
mm.
lolo, my lola, they lived with us. Two of my titas, my ninong, my cousin, like everybody in one house. And then like my white dad was just there, you know? Um, but I remember like being in conversation with my classmates, and I think I said that something was comfortable instead of
Mm.
comfortable. And I had never once like thought anything about the way I pronounce things in English because English was my first language, but I got teased relentlessly for saying comfortable instead of comfortable. And even though in some spaces people view me as white passing and I definitely look different from the rest of my family on my nanai's side, there was still
Mm.
these moments that I felt that difference that you're talking about, and it didn't feel good, and it didn't feel like something that I wanted to experience all the time. So you definitely try to kind of palette yourself to the environment that you're in.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say I was burned by that word before too.
Ugh, isn't that ridiculous? And
Because
now I'm
I
like,
also said
actually,
comfortable.
close the lights. Like,
Oh yeah, close exactly.
yeah, yeah, that's
Exactly.
it. What's that? Is that
Oh
trauma?
god.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I love the way, yeah, I love the way, um I love the way we talk. I love the way we joke. Like there's so
Mm,
much, or at least like, there was so much shame in that before, but now I'm like, I don't know, it's so fun. It's so
yes,
like
it
when I
so is.
do, yeah. And when I accidentally like confuse my P's and F's, like it's fun.
It is. We
It's
own it.
we own it.
You should make like
Yeah,
a
it's a very
sticker or
different.
something of that for like branding for Kisapmata. P's and F's. I don't
Yes.
know. There's something there.
Yes, merch. Yeah, there's a
Yep.
possibility.
We're here to have actually the Kisapmata global enterprise. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
But having this time with you, I really wanted to ask you because I didn't realize before you said so just a few minutes ago
Mhm.
that you had grown up in the Philippines. When we met at that with, what was it, with Bells on show?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes,
Yeah.
this was another show with Lunchbox Theater in Calgary. That's where we met for the first time. Cassie, they are the Cassie is the set designer, right?
Set and costume, yes. Yeah.
Set and costume designer, had mentioned that one of the characters grew up in the Philippines and like was here and all those sorts of things. And my immediate thought was, that is such an interesting perspective to write. Like for me, reconnecting to being Pinoy here is one thing, but I have no idea what that is like day to day in the Philippines. So I was like, if Bianca grew up here, how's she going to write that? So this makes more sense.
Yeah. Always drawing from my own experiences, really.
Period.
Yeah. I write what I know.
Yeah, that's the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Period. That's it. But yeah, I think truly also A and B are characters that have lived inside of me. Like I think, I consider myself leaning more towards A now, but like I have been B before. Sorry, it's funny to just talk about them in letters, but those are the names I gave them.
We stand by it.
Yeah. And so, sorry, what was the question?
Well, the question was, I was kind of leading into just like writing about that experience growing up in the Philippines. The main thing I'm curious about is like, what was it like? Were you out back home? Like, I know there's a whole different culture around queerness. And I had, do you know Francesca Dynamite?
Yeah.
Yes, Francesca is from, like, she lives around here in the Lethbridge area. And she was talking about how, like, we have so much visible presence in the Philippines. Like, we're in the entertainment, we're in the communities, but no social, like, legal recognition and rights. So that's a whole different life compared to coming here.
I mean, yeah, I think also like I moved when I was quite young. And so I went to an all girls Catholic school.
I'm so jealous. Everybody
You
that
should
tells
be.
me this, I'm like, you mean you could have had trauma and fun? Like, what the hell?
Oh gosh. Oh,
Life isn't fair.
The things that did to me. But I think they're now great stories. But yeah, I grew up in that environment. Like my family was very Catholic, practicing. I no longer am. But yeah, I think just in school alone, it's very, very interesting because I was in a couple relationships, but I never considered myself queer. Like I was always just
Not
like,
me.
oh, but I'm the straight one in the relationship. I don't know what that meant.
Yeah,
I believed
no one
it.
does.
I believed
That's all
it.
you needed.
Yeah. I mean, I confessed to God at the time that I had a lot of thoughts and feelings with the girls around me. And so I was like, oh, I'm forgiven after that. But the thoughts would
Let's
come
do
back,
it again.
and I would just say it again. So
Yeah. I mean, dial in. That's how it works.
exactly. And when I remember when a teacher suspected that I had a girlfriend, she would just, I was always a part of the kind of like there's like a student body, whatever. And I was always like either the president or the vice president. And I remember she'd be like, so, just letting you know, you have to set a good example to the rest of the student body. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I mean, I can't help it. The body of Christ just looks good today.
I'm like, I'm in love. But yeah. But yeah, I feel like too within that, I guess within that kind of institution, within like, I feel like inside of it there was so much fun. Like our friends would like help each other in terms of like, oh, I know exactly where your crush is, and like just just like everyone's investment in your love life.
Lesbianage.
Exactly. We were all
Thank you.
looking out for each other. We were just, like trying to.
Who says gays are untalented? My God.
Oh yeah, we are great spies.
Thank you. Athlete perfection.
Oh my God, yeah. So I felt like there was so much camaraderie in terms of like there was obviously this fear of getting caught, but like also we just had a lot of fun and we helped each other out. And I will, even though I didn't identify as gay at that time.
Even though I was straight.
Oh my God.
Straight, hetero.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. And I will say thank you so much to TikTok of 2020, where I was like, my For You page is very suspicious.
So, whoa. So you were like one of those people that kind of like came out, oh, bestie, a layer has descended.
Pandemic baby.
I love it for you. Welcome to the family. I mean, you were straight before, but anyway.
Oh, exactly. And honestly, like I've only been met with so much, I guess, like welcoming. There's a lot of people who sent me like messages and even welcome baskets at my door just to be
oh
like,
my God.
welcome home. And that truly was like, whoa.
Can I just say that's like a first on the show, like coming out and getting a welcome basket. The difference between 2020 and 2014 in our experiences. Like, oh dear.
Yeah, I got buttons, I got pens, I got stationery. Stickers.
That's so gay. Are you kidding
yeah, I was
me?
like, thank you.
The community said, we've been waiting.
Yeah, pretty much. They were like, oh, you realized it now? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
That is so sweet. I love that. If you're listening from now on, coming out has to be accompanied by a full-on like membership gift package, stationery included, and stickers from Kisapmata.
Yes.
It is law. It is decreed.
Yeah, it's great. I really, I felt so, like it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, this just feels right. Yeah.
Yes. It's such a beautiful and kind of like iconic slay story. Thank you for dropping that so casually here on the Queer in Alberta podcast. But I am curious for you. At what age did you say you immigrated to Canada?
I was 14. Yeah.
14. Oh, that teenage angst. She's real. So like other people that I've interviewed who say immigrated from a different place in the world to Canada around a similar time frame, they said that when they were in their home countries, they maybe knew like one gay guy in their school or something who was out. And so they were very much in the closet. But as soon as they came to Canada, it was such a different vibe that they were like, boom, out. Clearly that did not happen for you if we're talking to a pandemic goddess.
Not at all. I mean, honestly, I know for a fact that I have one ninong who's gay, one tito who's gay. I mean, have we ever had a conversation about it? No, that's a different story.
The tito nobody talks about.
Exactly. Or like we talk about everything that surrounds this tito or ninong except for their love life. Like that is just
celibate, dedicated to Christ.
Oh my goodness. And really like being, going to an all-girl school, like I was surrounded by so many gays. So yeah, I thought it was, I mean, I guess like what changed for me is that when I came here, it was definitely like, like just the mentality obviously around it. Like I was no longer, I think I was freed, liberated from just so much shame, I guess, that was created around it back home. And also just this idea of sin. Like I was like, I just saw so many other possibilities. And like when I was at that school, like there was only ever Catholicism as the religion. So just being exposed to other things, other religions, other beliefs, like really was like, oh, you can choose that for yourself. I mean, not that it like I immediately came out after like absorbing all of that, because obviously like a lot of these things are kind of indoctrinated, I would say. And so, but I feel like it did create freedom for me, like I was like able to celebrate other people, seeing
Mm-hmm.
other people in those relationships. And I was like, yeah, just seeing other possibilities, I guess. Representation
Mm-hmm.
was
There
such
it
an
is.
important, yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
It totally sounds like it just opened your world, right? And
Yeah.
made you perhaps question things that you maybe wouldn't have questioned in the same way or as soon back home. And I think that's just like another benefit of moving somewhere else or seeing a different culture and experience, because it makes you realize there are more than one way to live in this world.
Hmm. And I would say, I think as a person in general, like I just, okay, in in kindergarten, I got the most obedient award. That was an award.
Oh, Bianca!
So if
I'm
that
learning so
says
much about
anything,
you today.
if that says anything about me as a person, like I truly didn't even know that I could question things.
Right.
So really, even the fact that I could question things that was told to me, like that was cracked wide open.
Yeah. I promise I am listening to you, bestie, but all I can hear is most obedient award. Like I'm seeing it like a sash and I'm like, I need to get it. That's so funny. What do
I had
you
like a bowl
mean?
cut and then yeah, that sash.
No!
I'm like, yep, most obedient.
Ay, grabe.
Yeah, with prayer hands.
Oh my god. Straight. I'm crying. That's too funny. That's so funny. I told for the audience, we have the lovely Zeri working as our videographer, video editor today, and she is in the house. I told her like before, I was like, just so you know, we're Pinoy, we're gonna get loud. So yeah, it's happening in HD.
And like if we were sitting side by side or across from each other, there'd be some like playful hits, like
I
just
know. I was just thinking that. I started to fucking yeah. My girlfriend sometimes is like, "Ow," and I'm like, "No."
oh.
Yeah. She's white.
You're like,
She
sorry,
doesn't
but
get
also
it.
this is out of love, I promise.
I know. I'm like, you can't be mad. It's cultural.
You're like, here are the other examples, I promise.
Yeah, the catalog. That's so funny. Okay, but we're getting distracted. This
Yes.
obedient sash bestie. How do you expect me to live after that? That's so funny. Okay. Holy shit. But what was I gonna ask you about? Now I'm totally just in a different world. That's so funny. What have you done? We're ruined. My God. But I guess, like, thinking about bringing it back to Kisapmata, the whole reason
Mhm.
that we're here, like, now knowing this context of you maybe coming to terms to your identity more recently, like, the pandemic was only in 2020 and we're just
Yeah.
in 2024. It's a short period of time. I think it's like the most Filipino thing ever that you were like, I've just come out. Here's this play. Here's my manifesto. Like, you couldn't just quietly, you said, on the fucking stage, Versace on the floor. It's so real. Tell
Wow,
me
I feel
everything.
called out.
I mean, I can say it because it's the same for me with this podcast where I'm like, one TikTok.
I love it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, I feel like, so when I had the realization, I was like, all I could think about was, truly it was me reliving all the moments that I've had that I was like, no, I'm the
Memory.
straight one. And truly being like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I was in love with someone for 10 years of my life. And
Oh, man.
um
Go
and
on.
yeah, I just like, but also like seeing how I kind of did a disservice to some of the relationships I had back home because of that shame. Like I
Mm.
never felt myself truly diving in, or like I don't know, there was one relationship in particular where I
Like intimate relationships? Like with
yeah,
like a
like we
boyfriend
had
or a
no,
partner?
sorry, with a girl, and
Ah.
at school.
Continue.
And
Wow.
I truly, oh my God, like I was using No Day But Today from Rent to like court her, just like pouring my heart out through Rent songs. And then
And it took till 2020? Girl! The closet! It's not even see-through. It's in smithereens.
Oh yeah.
It's made of
Yeah.
abaca fiber. Like,
It honestly all makes sense. But
truly, welcome basket. No one else is shocked.
Exactly.
We're celebrating this finally.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like I feel like that part was so fun for me, and then I feel like when we got together, it was like, I don't know, somehow it just made it real, and I was like
Oh, yeah.
then questioning like, oh, I don't know. Like I've definitely was like, see ya.
Is this me? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and really just like hearing the voices of my teachers, of my, like just setting a good example and blah, 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 most obedient. Yeah. And I just remember it was truly not, I didn't do great things to that person. And like to this day, I still think about that, and how much my shame really took hold of that relationship. And yeah, I mean, I think that shows up a little bit in B, but I think what prevails for her is like that obligation to her family. Like she just, that is just something that's so inherent in her character, and like there's no way that like she could even think up a different option. Like she has a family back home who relies on her for survival, and that is the only thing that she has in mind. I mean, yeah.
And I just want to speak to that because it's so universal. I think for Filipinos living in the diaspora, like my nanay knew that she would continue to support her family without hesitation when she came to Canada. She was the first one to arrive, and then one by one she like sponsored her sisters to come and take over the role she had worked, and they kind of passed it down the chain. That's how all of my titas came to Canada. But even like she was helping send money for them to go to school and finish their education in the Philippines. Like all of these things, family is so important to who we are. I think it's almost the foundation of who we are. So to have that on the stage, I think you couldn't even begin to try to tell a story like this without touching on that.
Yeah, and I feel like I've had before people who are like, but
Did you just drop a spoiler?
like it's not like, I honestly at the beginning you'll know in the first few minutes of the play. that was one of the first things, honestly, that I had in mind. I don't know, I was just like, and it's not this like, sorry. It's like, and I feel like when you know, or like when you've seen the journey of the play, it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, I don't know, does it make sense for me? But I don't know. I feel
it's not about you.
To me, it makes sense. To a lot of people in the Philippines, it makes sense. It's also because I will say, I'll reference like a conversation that I've had with a friend back home. I visited for the first time, I think 10 years ago now. First and only time, because the flights are expensive. Anyway, but we were talking, and then she had just gotten out of a relationship with a girlfriend who has been with her for 10 years. Yeah, I mean, relationships in the Philippines last forever.
We're romantic people.
Even just the courting stage could be like 7 years.
Freaking
anyway.
piranha outside of your window, like.
Exactly. And anyway, so I asked her, I was just so curious, also with my newfound like love is love and anyone can love anyone attitude during that time. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, so do your parents know that you have a girlfriend or you've had a girlfriend? And she was like, yeah, but like the deal is that I will give them grandchildren and that I will marry a guy. And she said it in this like very calm, like
At
accepted,
peace.
just matter of fact, like, yeah, this is something that I have come to accept, and this is, and when I tell you, I was enraged, but also I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my rage, like it doesn't feel right to be like to put that on another person.
That's
um
such a piece of self awareness there. Like, it's
yeah.
so hard when you feel that passionate about something and then realize perhaps the very reason you can feel that passion and feel that rage is because you had the privilege to go somewhere else and experience different
Yes.
things. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's the privilege of like, now I have been, elsewhere, and I'm afforded this like freedom to
Mm-hmm.
explore other possibilities. And this person is like, um, well, I don't have that. Like 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 she has to take over her family business. Like there's literally already a written like thing for her.
Story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you think like because I would be intrigued. Do you think like people back home are gonna be really in the know about this play and maybe like find out about it and perhaps feel some type of way watching it? Like that could be so interesting to spark that cross international dialogue if possible.
yeah, so this play has had so many readings, of the first one being on Zoom back in
Mm-hmm.
2021, if I'm not mistaken. And I had a couple friends who came to see it, and that was such a
No
special.
way.
I did, yeah, they all it was so nice. I feel like yeah, I have a few friends there who are still very, very good friends and who are very supportive. And really, like from talking with them, it's like, ooh, these are the stories that we were hiding, like back home,
Mm.
like I was very close with a lot of people who were grappling with navigating this part of their identity, but also like loving someone so much that obviously like they wanted to fight for it. And
Mm.
I've been in the know in terms of like everyone talking to me about their experiences, and having some of my own as well. So it really felt like they were like, whoa, to see it come alive in this way was, I don't know, mind blowing, I guess. Uh,
Totally.
yeah, and I wish more people could see it. Obviously, maybe there's a chance to bring it to the Philippines.
Let's go! Let's do it! Everybody, Philippine Airlines, let's go.
Hey, pal.
Mabuhay.
Yes, exactly.
That's so
Oh.
funny. No, I love it. And I think like maybe social media could even be a way like to get that out onto a broader audience because I think it's so fascinating to watch that dialogue that happens with like people still at home and then people here. Because I don't know, I really hate seeing when we're almost like pitted against each other. Like when you
Yes.
were talking about some of my videos in the comment section, like we have so much else going on in the world. Like, can't we just have some solidarity in discussing our shared experiences or the things that are different to stay connected to one another? Like, I think this has the potential to do a little bit of that work. So I just want to say thank you for putting this out there.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, yeah.
Kilig.
But Kisapmata, it is debuting with Lunchbox Theater. January 30th is the first show to the public. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's a co-pro between Lunchbox and Chromatic, and the
Yes.
first preview is on January 30th. So there's two previews, January 30th and 31st. And previews are kind of like public dress rehearsals. Like really, anything can happen in those. Like there's been shows before where they've had to stop. That's not the goal, but it's really just a run for the actors and in a public setting. And then we open February 1st at 12 p.m. Yeah.
So exciting.
And I
got
think
that
you'll be
email.
there.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I got that email that was like, you are invited to this special screening or whatever. And I was like, thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Yes. And then we go up until February 18th. So quite a
awesome.
big run. Yeah.
Well, I hope that everybody goes out to see it. Like if you're not convinced by this podcast episode, what is it going to take? Honestly.
Yeah.
We were out here most obedient. Like I don't know what else to give you.
Truly, I feel like we talked about everything and I just had so much fun.
Me too. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I guess like to kind of wrap things up, if you could think of maybe 3 themes or like things that you are so proud to have been able to include in this play that you're excited for audiences to see, what would those 3 things maybe be?
I think love of all kinds, the Filipino culture, and the third thing, why is this hard? Queer joy.
It's like I put you on the spot. Queer joy.
Queer joy.
Despite being the Filipino Notebook, there is queer joy.
Yes. There's so much joy in it, honestly. Yeah.
Friends listening, wherever you are, if you are in Calgary or in Southern Alberta, I really, really encourage you to come out and support this just fantastic piece of, I was going to say poetry, but it's not poetry. It's a play. What do you call
a play? Yeah.
A play. Come out and support this with LUNCHBOX Theater and CHROMATIC. We said it was at the end of January, going until February 18th or so. You can get tickets online. And if you want to follow along with Bianca and all of their amazingness, where can the audience go to keep up with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Biancanator. It's like the Baconator.
You said marketing. You saw an opportunity and you ran with it.
Actually,
Baconator?
my grade 8 teacher saw the opportunity and I ran with it with her idea.
We love educators.
Most obedient.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Queer in Alberta, and massive, massive thank you to not only Bianca for sitting down and chatting with me, but to LUNCHBOX Theater and CHROMATIC Theater for making this whole thing happen. I am so honored for the opportunity to work with you and to uplift the voices of my communities that are so dear to me, my queer community, as well as my Filipino community. This was truly the collaboration of a lifetime, and I'm just so stoked. Thank you so much. I do want to draw some attention to some extra special dates of the show. It's on February 3rd at 4 p.m. There is a special brownout night, and you might be wondering what that means. And essentially, it's a Filipino celebration performance. So this is the night that LUNCHBOX, Bianca, and CHROMATIC have set aside as an invitation for the Filipino community to come out and see our stories on the stage. They also have a few nights I'm seeing here. It looks like February 8th and February 15th. Those are going to have a post-show talk back. So I'm assuming that's going to be a more intimate conversation with the behind the scenes. So if you like that kind of stuff when it comes to theater, definitely check that out. And the last one is for you romantics. On February 16th, there is a date night. So if you have a honey, if you're looking for a honey, that might be the night to go. Thank you to LUNCHBOX, to Bianca. I really feel like I made a new bestie, and I simply cannot wait to get notebooked, Filipino notebooked in YYC. I hope that this episode tides you over a little bit while you're waiting for season 2. And trust me, my friends, I really think this one is going to be worth the wait. No matter where in the world you are listening from, whether it is in Alberta, in one of the small towns or big cities, or maybe somewhere else altogether, I hope you are feeling celebrated, seen, and loved for the wonderful person that you are. Until next time, bye! Kisapmata, kisapmata.